This PSA was brought to you by the Peter G Show.
You may have second thoughts after the show.
Don't drink the faucet. We're really talented. We should get Oscars.
Just pick out a car, for Christ's sake.
No, my name is Peter. Yeah, I want. Here's good.
Yeah.
Madam Perry.
I need to get back in the genie bottle.
Louis from Pennsylvania, you're on. He likes it. It's showtime.
Peter G Show, divorce dad, single dad, divorce dad, single dad, Peter G Show.
$8 p.m. Central and 9 p.m. on the East Coast. God willing. How the hell is everybody? Looking forward to tonight's show, kind of going back to our roots again. And as the intro song was playing, once again, it reminds me of divorced dad, single dad. People go, why do you still have that song going? I go, because it's the friggin' truth. That's why. It's like, why not? It is what it is. Plus, it's got a kind of, catchy kind of groove going to it. Something I can snap my fingers to. But I hope everybody is doing well. Another week gone by. We are in the middle of June already. I know I kind of say that a lot every week. Well, I don't mean that. I don't say a lot that we're in the middle of June. You know what I mean? But it's just, my God. I hate the old adage, oh, the older you get, the more time flies. And it's like, I hear you. I honestly sit there and say, I don't know how I used to do so many things in so little time, because now I can't get enough done. But I'm real grateful to be here, and I'm grateful that you are here. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Please, please, please share. That is the best thing you can do for me. Share, because these stories, I'm sure, and this information from any show can help somebody that I'm sure that people that go, so-and-so needs to hear this. And tonight is one of those nights. I think they're all one of those nights. Even when I bring a stupid joke to the show, it's a good joke, and you probably want to share it. But tonight I got on the show. We got a great show tonight, and I'm going to tell you why. Many years ago, when I was deep in the talking about divorce and single parenting, surviving divorce and things like that, I had a couple of guests on my show, and I'll tell them when. It's been several years, and I don't think they remember exactly when it was either, but I looked it up. But I had a couple of guests on the show. They started a thing called Been There, Got Out, and they even put out a book entitled Been There, Got Out. And it caught my interest. I was referred to me, and I spoke to them, and lo and behold, it's all about, hard relationships. You got kids, it's messy. It's messy. And they took this, way beyond me. I mean, I talk about these things. They write about it, and they help people survive getting through divorce. Believe me, once the divorce is over, it's not over, folks. It's not over. I can attest to all this stuff. But I can't say it enough that I wouldn't be here had it not been because of my divorce, because I was on a completely different path. Still in entertainment, but I never in my wildest dreams thought I'd be sitting here talking about stories to help people get through things. And when I started out, it was all about surviving divorce and single parenting, because I was learning so much going through it myself. Not ashamed of it, not proud of it, but maybe sometimes you got to go through what you're going through to get to where you're going. But you want to get there in one piece. That really helps a lot. So tonight I have on Lisa Johnson and Chris Berry. They're going to be on this show from Been There, Got Out. And why are they back on the show? Well, I believe regardless that they bring information that's truly, needs to be talked about, very informative. But on top of that, they got a new book out, and they have a new book entitled "When Your Ex Turns Your Kids Against You," and that's like I saw that, and right away, like the light went off. I go, "Oh, we're talking about this because this is so harmful and damaging, and so nasty, and it happens all the time, and it's a shame, but." Some people survive it, some people don't. And with the help of people like who are going to be on the show tonight, Lisa and Chris, they're the ones that help you get a grasp on things. Because I got to tell you, when you're going and you're in the middle of this stuff, you're not thinking that well. You're just not. You're not in the best of, especially if you're a first timer. It's new ground. It's ground that you wish you never went to explore. So we're going to have them on the show tonight, and it's going to be real good because they're a plethora of information. And that's why they're on again, and rightfully so, and long overdue. But they got the new book out, so we'll be talking about that too. All right, June, like I said, it's the middle of June already. Summer's I don't think, when does summer officially start? It starts in a few days, doesn't it? Yeah, either way, it's hot as hell out. It's been kind of rainy this week. Ironically, we're talking about this. I didn't realize it when we booked them ages ago. This Sunday is Father's Day. So, coincidence? There is a God. I did not have any conception of that whatsoever when we were talking back in January or whenever the heck it was that we put this date for them to appear. But rightfully so, Father's Day, Mother's Day, Father's Day. I don't know. Every day to me is Mother's Day and Father's Day, but it's just an extra accentuation on, I'm a proud father. There's no doubt about it. That's my world. But for all of them, it's just a little extra recognition. So I'm really hoping we're going to go into Father's Day and everybody's going to have a great Father's Day, but we'll talk about that and touch on that a little bit too. But before we get going, I really want to, as I always do nowadays, I really start on the, let's get on the right astrological path. So why don't we hear real quick from Moon Mistress Tarot and get our astrological forecast for the week. And that way it'll kind of set the tempo of where your brain is at and why, because, the universe is, steering you that way. So we'll be back in a minute.
All right, my loves, we are under this beautiful Gemini super new moon energy all this week, and it's all about unlimited possibilities. Oh, and surprises. So my loves, let's see how it's affecting your sign. Starting off with my air signs, there's the lovers. So there's something that's falling in love with you or something you are falling in love with. That energy comes through, my darlings, and that's for all my Aquarius, Geminis, and my Libras. Well, babies, and for my water signs, Eight of Pentacles, that's your money, honey. Someone could be capturing your attention. So for all of my Scorpios, all of my Cancers, and my Pisces, enjoy, my darlings. For my fire signs, love is around you also. So new love coming through. Remember, Gemini is all about this new beginnings. So enjoy this one, my darlings. Finishing it off with my earth signs, well, there you are. The magic's in you. And also, my darlings, for all my Virgos, for all of my Capricorns, and all of my Taurus, you need to know, watch your words, because your words are your spells, my darling, especially with this Gemini energy, to find out what is going to attract or block this energy for your sign, moonmistresstarot.com. And as always, enjoy, and back to you, Peter.
Thank you, Moon Mistress Tarot. She always has something positive coming your way and telling you which way to go. But hey, what do I know? To find out more about your astrological journey and your cosmic connection, go to moonmistresstarot.com. Let her do a reading for you. Again, you never know what the universe has in store for you, and she just has a little bit more grip on it to steer you in the right path. And knowledge is power, so handle it. I mentioned right before we went into that little break that it's Father's Day this weekend, and to me, it's falling kind of late. I thought Father's Day was always, around the 14th, a week sooner or so. But either way, it's Father's Day, and I've been so busy, I didn't even realize that we're coming up on Father's Day, because there's been a lot going on in my life, both the show and personal, good stuff, and a little bit of hectic stuff, but all in all, good stuff. And I didn't take into account it's Father's Day. And I go, I'm not doing anything for Father's Day. I said, well, I need to be doing something for Father's Day because it's Father's Day, for God's sake. So I'm just hoping all you fathers, I know there's a lot of people that have a hard time with these sometimes it's not all that pleasurable for people who have Mother's Day, Father's Day, again, because of the bickering or this and that, or loss of a child or this and that. But, again, life is still moving forward. So all I can do is wish you guys that, and we'll talk about this at the end of the show too, but as hard as it is to go for some people, you got to keep going because you're still here. And for those of you who have the great relationships with your children and all, that's God bless you. And I'm very, 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 very fortunate. But not everybody is that. And I hate sometimes, people ask me, how you doing? How's your daughter? And I'm not bragging. It's the truth. I know I got luckier than some. And so there's times like this, to me, it's like Father's Day is great, but every day is great. I mean, to me, I'm telling you, Facebook with the memories, this is still going on. I am turning into what do they call that? When you're super sensitive. I'm starting to, it's really been happening the past 10 years to where I see pictures of my daughter from, grade school and things like that, just coming up in the Facebook memories and all that, I instantly smile. It just takes me right back to that place. I can't, not appreciate and the time that I had. What we got going on here? Oh, look, somebody decided to say, hey, Pensacola in the house. Good. How you doing? Glad you made it. I forgot. For those of you, you can comment. If you're on the official Peter G Show Facebook Live, you can comment if you have any comments. And if you're on the YouTube official Peter G Show Live, you can comment. Not a lot of people do. Everybody's shy, but you might have questions for Chris and Lisa tonight. And if you do, I'll ask them these questions because, again, this is a topic not to be reckoned with. And sometimes, all the help you can get. I figured tonight is a great session of information and, on the house. Anyway, all right, here's what we're going to do. One more quick break because I want to hear from my good friends over at Clean Star Products with their money-saving fuel additive DX1 driver. And then we're going to have Chris and Lisa on from beentheregotout and talk about their new book and what they've been doing and how they've been doing and what's going on in the world of divorce. Okay? It's all good. Getting out in one piece. Be right back. Don't go nowhere.
Let us help you with the high price of fuel. Hello, I'm Ty Thompson at CleanStarProducts.com. We can optimize your engine, saving you money and gas. Here's how. Our program works the same with gasoline and diesel engines. Whether you're using a car pack or SUV pack, the instructions are the same. Add 1 bottle to your engine oil, and each time you change your oil, add 1 bottle to the fuel tank each and every fuel fill-up. It's that easy. You get 10% fuel economy on average, lower emissions, and increased horsepower. DX1 sells for $2 an ounce, so for just a few dollars a fuel tank, you can optimize your engine, saving you money and gas. Come on, give it a try. It's the finest green grade oil in the world from a California environmental company. You're going to feel it when you drive. Order online today. We'll get it out right away. CleanStarProducts.com/shop.
That's right, folks. You will feel it when you drive. I know I've felt it because I have 2 words to tell you about Clean Star Products and their DX1 driver. It works. Peace sign. It does work. I wouldn't have been talking about it had I not tried it myself, and that's how we got into this whole thing. I said, let me check it out. I said, I'm not going to talk about anything, because people say, oh, snake oil, but no, I beg to differ. It's a little bitty bottle right here. Take one of these little bottles. This services your average 4-door sedan, especially high mileage vehicles, more than ever. But you pour this into a clean oil change, as I've said many times, and last the whole oil change. That's 5,000-6,000 miles in your average domestic car. If you own a Mercedes or a Bentley, it's about 10,000-12,000 miles. All right. And then all you do is when you fill up your gas tank, you pour one of these little bottles into the fuel tank, fill your tank up with fuel, and drive. It's that freaking simple. And it works. I noticed the difference within about 3 or 4 tanks of it cleaning things out and getting more lubricity to the engine. And I drive a heavy V8. And believe me, when my daughter notices it, because she borrows my vehicle once in a while, and when she notices it, I know something's going on because she that's like the farthest thing from her mind. But either way, don't believe me. Go to their website, www.cleanstarproducts. There's a phone number on their website. They are old school. They want to bring it back to the personal touch. Call them at 310-200-8931. They'll answer all of your questions. They'll answer anything you have because, look, they're expecting you to believe in them, and they back up their product. But should you decide to order, here's the kicker. Mention you saw it on the Peter G Show. Say, hey, I saw it on the Peter G Show, and that's why I called, and I got questions, and yeah, maybe I'll give it a try. The fact that you're mentioning it on the Peter G Show, you will get 5 bottles for the price of 4. I know. Father's Day special. 5 bottles for the price of 4. And that makes a great starter kit because you put 1 in your clean oil change, right? That simple. And then when you fill up your tank, put it in your tank. When don't run your tank down to the bottom, but get it low. And then put that little bottle in, fill up your tank, and drive. And I'm telling you, that gives you 4 tankfuls. And if you don't notice any difference in that, then I don't know what to tell you, but you will. And then after that, good food, good body. It's the only way I can tell you. Repairs are expensive. Mechanics cost a fortune. Why wouldn't you take care of your vehicle? Cars cost a fortune. Gas, well, it's coming down now. It's going to come down, but still money. I don't care if it's 10 cents a gallon. Well, why not get the best performance you can get? And that'd be by, taking care of your engine, because when your engine goes down, it'll cost you $200, $300 just to get it scanned. That's before they even tell you that it's going to cost you another $1,700 to $4,000 to repair and or replace. They don't even fix things; they replace nowadays. Kind of stinks. But get the most out of your vehicles. They're not investments; they're tools. They're cars that we drive to get to and from to make a living. For most of us, anyway. For this guy. And I just want to make sure that my vehicle runs good because I don't like going to mechanic now. I'm kind of mechanically inclined, but even if I could fix it myself, why should I when it'll run better and make it last longer and all that? Okay? Go to their website, call them, tell them you saw it on the Peter G Show, and you're in like Flynn. You'll get a deal. 5 bottles for the price of 4. All right? That's all. Okay. Here we go, folks. Where are we at? There we go. Let's take a quick sip. Just a reminder, thank you, everyone. I love each and every one of you for tuning into Life of Peter G, the Peter G Show. I know that there's a million things you could be doing, yet you take the time to check out the show and share the shows and things like that, and that's why I love you for it, because life is full of choices, and if you chose to be here, it's because you're supposed to be here, and don't think I don't know it, and other people know it too, right? All right, peace. Salute. Oh. Don't light a match. Smooth. Isn't that right, Butthead?
Smooth.
Can't tell you how much I love that guy. Life was so simple back then. All right, as promised, now we're moving into the main feature of the show. So I hope everybody got their popcorn, used the facilities, got you an adult beverage or a glass of water or something, because these shows make you thirsty from all the knowledge. And that's it. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, from the Eastern time zone, right here, they've been on the show once before. It's been several years, and I know that we're going to be sitting here going, I don't recall exactly how long ago it was, but it was several years ago. And they're here back now with their new book, When Your Ex Turns the Kids Against You, from Beentheregotout, struggling with divorce. They're here to help you. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Lisa Johnson and Chris Berry. Yay.
I don't think I've ever been introduced with like a fanfare like that. That was cool.
Listen, Chris, here at the Peter G Show, we spare no expense. So it's all good.
Well, and I also said that, I think, a little bit like Butthead. I was like, that was cool.
I'm a big kid. I don't, 60 whatever. I'm still that guy. And, there's a very serious side to me, but I rather go through life laughing than crying. Although, you don't sometimes have a choice. How are you guys?
Good. It's so great to be back, Peter.
Yeah. Does anybody know the last when you were here? Does anybody? Quiz time.
I guessed 2021.
No, it had to be 2023 because that's when the last book came out. I think it was 3 years ago.
Your final answer?
Right. I'm changing my answer to her answer.
Smart man. Your book was out, and it was March 15th, 2023. Show number 199.
Oh my gosh, it had just released.
Yeah. It was Divine Intervention. Marnie Grumman, the woman that she kind of referred you or me or to you or vice versa, and here you were, and you had the book out, which I have right here, and we began. Why don't we do this? Let's start from the beginning because there's been so much growth, thank God, in this show since the last time you were on. I mean, it's a constant. You know how it is. It's a uphill climb, and even though a lot of people are aware of you, why don't you give everybody a brief synopsis, flip a coin, you guys, who wants to, go for it, and tell us what's going on with you guys, where you came from, who you are, and then we'll take it from there. How about that?
All right, Chris, I'll take it. All right, so I always say I'm Lisa. I'm the female half of Been There, Got Out, and I'm a state certified domestic violence advocate and a trained crisis counselor. Chris is the male half. He's a certified high conflict divorce coach, and together we are high conflict divorce strategists who help men and women all over the world only in the worst separations, divorces, custody battles, and co-parenting hell, so they have the chance of the best outcome in family court and beyond. So we specialize in something called legal abuse. That's where somebody's ex is using the legal system to wear them down and bleed them dry financially. And we have all kinds of ways to help them get through that. And in the process of legal abuse, we discovered that many of our clients were dealing with something that's referred to as parental alienation, where their ex was using the children to punish them, as well as money and the court system. So that's what our second book is about.
Gotcha. Let me, sorry, I'm playing with, there's been a lot of bouncing around going on, right? It's the first couple of minutes because I have not had two guests. Normally I just have one guest. And since the transition from California to Florida, there's been a lot of change. And I was like, I need to, which button do I hit to feature you? So sorry if I jumped around a little bit. Okay, so you guys have been at it quite for a while. And again, with your Been There, Got Out, it's all about, divorce horror stories and how to handle them because scenarios, correct?
Yeah, one of our core values is to provide practical, actionable advice. So this is, there are stories woven into it for sure. Some of them are clients, some of them things we've heard from attorneys and other people. But really the focus is, what can you do? Like, how do you, recognizing the situation that you're in and what can you do about it? So where the first book was more of an overview of, toxic relationships, abusive relationships. Am I in one? There's a quiz in there. What can I expect if I'm going to leave this relationship, making a safety plan, hiring an attorney, that kind of thing. So it's very much an overview. This one, we just got back from a conference in Seattle a couple weeks ago. And one of the things that we talked about a lot was the first book was the book that we wanted to write. And the second book is the book that our clients asked us to write.
Wow. Okay. I mean, normally though, from the beginning, it usually starts out from the gut, everybody's kind of going through hell and I was going to get into that later, but I went through 3 years of court and I saved all the paperwork from the emails, the nasty emails from my ex, from the lawyers, from the declarations I spent all night writing that the judge never read, that costs $400 an hour for the attorney to have it and then turn it in. And then when I was going to save all that stuff, because I said, I'm writing a book about this because this is hell. And you guys deal with all these people that go through this. And not everybody's that well versed. I'm sure I'd be a lot better at it the second time around, but I don't want to go through that. You hope not to, but that's what you guys are doing. Let me just backtrack a little bit. Tell everybody, you guys are a couple, correct?
Yes.
Am I right?
Yep.
So,
for more than 11 years.
Well, tell her just because you should be proud of that. And I mean, because nowadays everything is so 15 minutes. I envy great relationships. I truly do. But now you guys are not only that, you're advocating to help people. But tell everybody a little bit how you're both separate situations and how you came together. That to me, that's important.
The origin story.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know if Lisa's lucky. I'm certainly lucky for sure.
Well.
I'll let you be the judge of that. But,
So go ahead, Chris.
no, well, so why don't we just show our relationship dynamic, and I'll start talking and you interrupt me when you're ready. That's what, that's how we roll. So Lisa and I, of all things, I had been separated about 8 months. My divorce was underway. Lisa had been separated less calendar time, but had been like emotionally out of the relationship for much longer. And we met on Match, and we met face to face at a restaurant, and we took one look at each other and both went, nah. And then we sat down. We said, we're here. We might as well sit down and enjoy the meal. And 2.5 hours later, we were like, wow, I really like that person. And then a couple of days later, it took a turn. I almost got friend zoned, but it took a turn for the romantic, and it's been great since.
Lisa.
Yeah, Chris left out all these details.
It's not a long show.
It's a man show, babe.
Yeah. All right.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah, we wrote back and forth for like 4 days, decided to have lunch, walked in. Chris was super preppy and carrying literally the Wall Street Journal under his armpit, and he had these wire-rimmed reading glasses to the end of his nose.
And I was 80 pounds heavier.
80 pounds heavier, shirt tucked in with the belly hanging over the belt. I was like, oh no. And I had my usual wild hair, skull shirt, thigh-high steampunky boots, and Chris was just like, oh no. So, but we had been writing back and forth just for a few days, and being a writer myself, I loved Chris's voice. So we hadn't talked, but his writer voice was very, he's really funny and interesting. And so I figured, well, here we are, let's just sit and talk. And Chris was telling the truth. It was about 2.5 hours that we were nonstop talking. And over the course of that meal, Chris is we're both very enthusiastic New Yorkers, and our hands are moving all over the place, and at some point almost knocking over the drinks. And at some point, even though Chris was telling me that he was in a fraternity, I was like, I never dated a frat boy. He loved football. I have no interest. But I remember distinctly feeling like, this is so weird, but I'm talking to the male version of myself, because he was so animated. And at the end of the meal, we finished. He had to go. He had a meeting at work, and he did not try to kiss me. He didn't try to hug me. He didn't try to hold my hand, which was perfect, because at that time I was not ready for it. He just said, can I have your phone number? I thought, okay. So gave my phone number. And for the first time in my life, this sounds ridiculous, but I sat in the car, paused, and thought, how do I feel right now? I feel really good. I don't feel pressured. I had a really nice time. I enjoyed myself. And yeah, I'd go out with him again. And then that was the beginning. So the next day, I was not a texter until I met Chris. Like, texting was very new to me, because this was a while ago, more than a decade ago. Chris, we exchanged numbers. The next day I was in Manhattan with some girlfriends. We call ourselves the Millenniums because all our babies were born in 2000. Chris was in Pennsylvania doing some football thing with his boys, and we were just writing back and forth to each other. And it felt like we had known each other for such a long time. It was so comfortable. So we started talking away, and we've been chattering nonstop ever since. We always joke around that we take these long road trips and we don't even turn on the radio, because it's just blah, 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 whole time.
Wow. Okay, but to fast forward now 10 years, what do you attribute the not only the being somehow being connected for a short time, but the desire to stay together? And I would like to hope that it's like even better than what you expected. What do you what was that?
So Chris is like hysterically funny. And
there's no pressure. There's no pressure for the rest of the interview.
He's got this like zany associative brain, And it's my favorite kind of humor. Actually, in my match, this was like my first internet dating experience. No one can ever believe that. They're like, oh, you are so lucky. So
Yeah.
I guess that's true. But I had made, before I went on the profile, I thought, let me make a list of just qualities that I like in a person. And on the list, one of the things was a dry sense of humor. I never expected to get it. My dad has a dry sense of humor. I've met occasionally like a handful of people in my life that I think have a great sense of humor. Chris has that sense of humor. Very deadpan, really, really funny, like the weirdest, most unexpected connections between things. So I had come out of a 20-year relationship where I did not laugh very often at all. And I told Chris, I'm not a laugh out louder or an out loud laugher. But he proved me wrong. Like the moment we met, he had me laughing. I remember 3 weeks later, it was his birthday, and I literally was on the floor crying with laughter. So it was such a breath of fresh air. And, now it's been more than 11 years. He still has me laughing all the time. And I think part of the reason we do so well is because we both communicate really, really well. And we talk all the time, and if something's wrong, we'll talk about it. And I always think back to sometime early in the relationship, we were having an argument about something, and I was talking, and Chris is like, hold on a second. And he took out a legal pad and he started taking notes. I was like, what are you doing? He goes, I want to make sure that I understand what you're saying. I want to be able to respond to what you're saying, but I don't want to interrupt you. And I was like, where did this man come from? This is amazing.
All right.
Well, I think one of the things that is special about our situation is that we both went through horrible relationships, long-term marriages. And having been through that, I'm not just some guy who's led an average life and meets the girl of my dreams and I'm happy. I went through something like I was in negative territory for a long time. So I think, I'm not sure about this, but I think I've got a better appreciation. I think Lisa does too, for what we have now, having experienced what we experienced before.
Yeah.
Fair.
It's like every day you wake up and go, oh, this is so great.
We still 11 years in, we're like, this is so different.
I know.
Like, I
Like,
still
we
am
have
drawing content.
fun. We have fun all the time. Like when I go on a vacation, I know I'm going to have a great time. I know it's not going to be a disaster. For a lot of people in unhealthy relationships, special occasions, vacations, birthdays, it's always a letdown because the person keeps disappointing you and you keep thinking it's going to be better and it's not. So, but this is the opposite.
I think like you hit it on the head when you said communication. You guys communicate a lot, even though you may think that in the person you're talking to saying, I need communication. I mean, they go, yeah, I know. A lot of times that doesn't happen. And that there's where the cracks start in the pavement.
And we've been together a long time. We're not we fight, we argue sometimes, not very much, but usually, and I think you're right, you can trace back where the conflict came from. It's usually a lack of communication or something related to communication, for sure.
I was going to ask you, I'm sure you've had bumps in the road, but the thing is, it's the ability to get through them and not say, I quit.
Yeah.
I was never close to quitting.
Well, I get it, but nowadays everything's 15 minutes, and we've been down this. I just wanted to, again, you're very lucky. Number one, the match, that could be a horror story. I mean, you could have told me that he walked in and you didn't even recognize him because it was his college picture, or the woman had filters, galore and didn't even look like the same, and all that kind of stuff, which is pretty much the typical thing nowadays.
Yeah, no, neither of us are like that.
Okay. Chris, how the hell did you lose 80 pounds?
Smart eating and nagging from Lisa. No, I didn't do anything radical, no shots, no crash diets, anything like that. I saw, I kind of knew already what I was doing wrong. I was treating myself like a veal calf. With how I was eating and everything. And just poor habits. And I saw a nutrition, he's more of a personal trainer type, but a nutritionist as well. And he gave me some good, solid diet advice. And I found things that I like that are healthier and lower calories. And I love what I eat now. And I lost like a pound a week for a year.
How long ago was this? How long ago?
So when I said I'd lost 80 pounds, I didn't lose 80 pounds recently. I was 270 when I met Lisa. I had been like really overeating because I was going through my divorce, and just that's where I turned to for comfort. People turn to drugs or alcohol or whatever I ate. And but even more recently, I was more in the 255-ish range, 250. And about in February of last year, started just watching what I ate. And about a pound a week came off. I'm 190 now.
I don't remember you being heavy when you were on in 23.
Well, I'm tall, so it spreads out.
Okay. I mean, that's...
And I didn't show you my belly.
Well, that's true. You weren't topless on the show. That is true. but you were sitting side by side, so you fit in the screen with Lisa, and I'm just I'm going, well, I don't recall that, but and then there's the trick, losing the weight's one thing, keeping it off is another. It's very difficult. You have to stay on a lifestyle, so to speak, and we're not getting any younger, and it doesn't get any easier. So good for you.
Thank you.
Okay, you guys, I just wanted to touch back because, again, I think the biggest part of telling me what you're doing now is who you are, and who you've, and why you've become what you've become, because that takes dedication. There's a million choices you can make in life to do a million things, and you guys chose to do this. So then, again, when you came on the show, you came out with this book, and we talked about this book, and it's pretty much, the horror stories and having to deal with these things and having to go through it and how to go through it and what not to do and what to do. And all of a sudden now you said that you wrote that book for yourselves, but now you wrote this book that the people wanted. How did the people want, especially this title? It's very specific, how did you come about that and saying, okay, we're going to write a book and we're going to call it When Your Ex Turns Your Kids Against You, turns the kids against you?
So 3 years ago, we were in Chicago at the American Library Association conference, because I remember exactly how this idea came. And our book had been out, what, Chris? In the cab?
In the cab.
Yep, in the cab. Driving back to the airport, and we had a blast there, and we just started thinking, what should our next book be about? And Chris, you said you were the one who came up with the idea, but whatever it was, Chris is like, I noticed that so many of our clients are dealing with alienation. Like, oh my God, it feels like every third person. Now for us, it's like every second person, if not more, is dealing with a situation where, especially post-separation, they start discovering that their children are either pulling away from them, aligning with their ex, or want nothing to do with them. And then as they start talking about it, we realize that it was happening while they were still in the relationship, and that their kids are being used as weapons to continue to punish them by their ex. And so, there's a quote that one of our clients told us that I feel like comes out in so many of these cases, where an ex says, if we separate, if we get a divorce or whatever, I'm going to leave you homeless, penniless, and childless. I'm going to take everything from you. Actually, one of our clients' exes said, I want to see you on your knees, bloody, begging me in the street for mercy.
You forgot naked.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Oh, no, It's the truth. I've heard all this. When anger makes you say a lot of stupid shit. It really does. I'll have you naked in the streets. I mean, I've heard that so many times. The bloodied part, I didn't, but that too. Why not?
Yeah. So the kids are for pretty much all the people that we choose to work with, the kids are the most important thing. And so having a child that you spent so much time and love and attention on, who you never imagined breaking up with you, wanting nothing to do with you, is the worst wound that someone can inflict on a parent. And so that's the pain that many people in our community are dealing with. 22 million separated and divorced parents in America and Canada alone are dealing with some version of this. We went to the United Kingdom for a conference in March when our book came out. There's millions of people there too dealing with it. It's a worldwide epidemic, and a lot of people don't talk about it because there's so much shame associated with it. And I often compare it to, and I think it was Dr. Josh Coleman, a psychologist, who wrote a book called Rules of Estrangement. He talks about this, something called ambiguous grief, where that actually has to do with if you had a child that died, you could grieve, you'd have the community around you supporting you in your sadness. But when you have a child that's still alive that won't talk to you, it's different, because you're sad, but your kid is still out in the world, so there's no closure. Plus, there's all this shame, because if you talk about it to other people, most people will think you must be an awful person,
Right.
an awful parent. If your kids aren't talking to you, what did you do wrong? So
Yes.
nobody wants to say anything about it because of this intense judgment.
Wow. 2 questions. Either one of you can go for it. What's the age range of the children? Are you on? I'm sure it's a full range, but in general, more so of the children that are being, that are doing this or being caught in the middle of being caught and doing this. And is it because of the parent? Obviously, is it because of the parent one parent brainwashing them, or are they just choosing to not like that parent? Because there's a lot of that too, and it's a different thing, not necessarily caused by divorce, but there's a lot of nowadays. I don't know what's going on with this alienization thing of kids looking at their parents, going, you know what, I didn't ask to be born, and the self entitlement. So it's kind of 2 different things. But if you're going through the divorce, I'm figuring it's more poisoning of the mind from one side. But how old are the kids on average that you're seeing? Because either way, it's detrimental. You're screwing their heads up royally.
Well, age-wise, it can be anything, really. I mean, adult children who have been alienated, remain alienated, that we get, people who reach out saying, is there some way to restore the relationship, even though they've aged out, right? So there's not a custody thing anymore. It's not time spent with me anymore. So obviously an infant who doesn't understand language, it's a little harder, right? But as kids get to where they understand language, you'll see a problematic parent say little nasty things about the other parent in front of kids who are even very small. What we have seen, though, and I think this is a better way to answer your question, there tends to be like a hot spot. Things tend to there tends to be a flashpoint, give or take around age 14. Certainly for boys, 14.
Yeah, like
so
12 into the teenage years where it gets like really, really bad.
Really? And what about the girls? I mean, is there a difference
same.
But is there a difference in attitude or how they're handling it between boys or girls?
No, but there's a lot of aggression.
It's very common, very common.
Aggression. Yeah.
Very common for our clients, who are just starting to experience alienation. It's going on, but they're just kind of saying, what's happening here? This is weird. The first thing they notice is in a shared custody situation where kids are going back and forth, that when the kids come back from the other house, the other parent's house, they're very dysregulated. They're angry. They're aggressive. We've had, parents say that the kid punched me or something like that. But early on, before it really sets in, the kid will usually bounce back after a little while, hours, the next day, they'll become themselves again. But that's a really big red flag.
Yeah. Or they don't want to go with you, where it's like they start absorbing that other parent's energy, where they're like, I'm afraid of you. And there's no basis for that. You're a dangerous person. I don't feel safe around you. I'm scared of you. And it's kind of like, what did I do? So we always talk about a number of what we call alienation factors. And the message that kids who are dealing with this sort of thing gets is that we say the 3 U's, that you are unsafe, unloving, and or unavailable. So let's say you get in a new relationship with someone. an ex, one of the exes, like our clients' exes, will weaponize that with the children and say, oh, your other parent cares more about their partner than you. You know, if they don't have time for you. I mean, that happened in my relationship with Chris, right? When we go on go ahead, Chris.
Well, yeah, I'm thinking of when, my kids played I have two boys, and they played all kinds of sports. They were in, youth baseball, basketball, football, everything. And that's a lot of games when you have two kids and, playing a couple of games a week. I only went to, if I missed games when it wasn't my parenting time because I was with Lisa or because I was mowing the lawn, whatever. I'm sure my ex was piling that on and saying, Dad's not here. Oh, why isn't your father here? He must be busy, that kind of stuff.
In the meantime, Chris was coaching 4 sports for 2 boys. I mean, it was like every night he was doing something with his kids.
Okay, so this is why this leads me to this question. At the age of about 14 or so, aren't they together enough to put it together to figure out really what's really kind of going on? I mean, how come, they have common sense about their own sensibility about whether you're doing something wrong or not. How does that work?
Well, I can't speak for everybody, but
Right.
I, as an adult, met and married my ex. I loved her. I fell in love with her. Right.
Of course.
I was an adult I wasn't the most mature adult, maybe, but that's a discussion we could have. But what chance does a child who is way less mature, doesn't have a frontal lobe, and has been conditioned since birth that mom in my case, but that parent is someone who you have to trust because that's the best chance you have at survival. That's how we're wired. And it takes an incredible force to break that bond between a parent and a child. So the child is like hand delivered, in a trusting mode. It's very, very hard and very kids don't have the tools usually to see what's really going on.
Well, also we in general as humans believe our parents tell us the truth. We don't imagine our parents are going to lie to us. And so kids hear 2 different stories, but often when there's a fracture in the relationship, a disunification of a marriage, kids are being pushed to choose by one parent. It's either you're with me or against me. Right. I'm so angry at my ex and you're their child. You can't love them. You have to reject or discard them, just like I did or they did to me. So kids are put in a position where they're not allowed to, again, show affection to one of you. They have to align with a very difficult parent, or else then what if that person doesn't love me anymore? So it's not just like discerning what's going on. I am being pushed to display myself a certain way.
And kids at some level, they do pick up on the fact that the problematic parent their love is conditional, and they're only going to be good to the child and loving and all the stuff the kid wants and needs if they comply. Whereas the healthy parent, the other parent, the targeted parent, the child knows that parent their love is unconditional. I don't have to do, in my case, what Dad says, right, to get Dad's love. Dad's love is going to flow no matter what, even if I reject him. So they choose the path of least resistance where the least danger is.
Yeah, one of our clients told us a story that I love repeating because it's such a great illustration. So she has a child who's actually older than 14, who's probably about 18 or 19. She's got some special needs, and our client does very well financially. She's got a great job, and she paid her ex child support. They have multiple children. So one time she was on the phone with her boss, and her daughter was eavesdropping, and apparently they were talking about money, and her daughter went and told her father, I think Mom's making more money. Now, her father had constantly filed motions in court, because that's how it is with our people. And so he filed again, like 4th time for modification for child support. And when the daughter came back to our client, her mother, our client was mad, and she said, "What are you doing? Why would you eavesdrop and go tell your father something like that? Like, what's the point?" And her daughter said, "I'm sorry, but that's the only time he pays attention to me."
It's pretty gut wrenching stuff. I mean, if it doesn't rip your soul out when the thing you love the most in this world is being manipulated, and then you're jumping through hoops because again this isn't the norm and you're not that good at it. So I mean I know that I've spent time with dads or people and they're just doing. Again, I make the old analogy that I bought my daughter this electric scooter. It looked like a Vespa, and it was this little pink scooter when she was little, and she loved it, but she also loved the cardboard box that it came in. She played with that cardboard box I mean, so the point being is that I spent all this money on this scooter and she was just as happy jumping inside this cardboard box. But we as adults are overdoing it because you just want to give them what they want so they'll be happy. And it doesn't necessarily have to be like that, but it's a tough position to be in. I don't envy anybody going through this stuff because it's not a lesson. I mean, that I really preferred to learn, but that's rock and roll.
Well, I'm a huge cardboard box guy, so I can.
Are you?
Relate to that. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I look. It's there's multiple. You can use them for so many different things.
You mentioned this being tragic, and like we talk to people who have like 50-50 legal custody. Right.
Yeah.
Or 50-50 parenting time per their orders and haven't seen their children in a year, 2 years sometimes, and they can't get anybody to do anything about it. I agree with you. It's tragic.
Wait, is that because they don't have the time or don't want to, or they're not getting the child?
They're not. The other side is, playing games saying, the child doesn't want to come to you and I support them. That's the standard routine.
And
the
I
child's
can't
afraid of
them.
you. I can't make them. That's sort of the standard routine thing we see.
False accusations, or it's just the parent. Sure. Really, and I mean, but at that point, they don't have access. Like nowadays, all kids have cell phones, I made it a point. I called every single day. They're being
monitored. They're being monitored. Their phones are being monitored. They're not. Some of them are like hostages. Like they see a message, they're not allowed to answer. They'd be punished by the other parent.
I see that too. I mean, I know people who tell me that stuff too. Again, we all live in these different scenarios, basically, under the same topic, but there's all these different variations of hell that you could either go through or not go through, and it's all dependent on the understanding of the parents. Because at the end of the day, you get these people that go, God, my God, you guys spent all this money on attorneys and this and that. You could have put your kids through college. It's like, yeah, that's the simple analogy, easier said than done. But go talk to so-and-so, who kept running it through court. Manipulation, power, or whatever. It's and who's caught in the middle? The kids. And you hope that they come out of it in one piece, because they're the ones who end up getting the irreparable, brain damage from all the damn, just mental trauma. He did this, she did that, she sucks or she lies. Wow. Where we at? In your book, I just had something for you guys. You mentioned something about the tentacles of poison. I mean, what is that? I know that's like a not an analogy, but I mean, where are you going with that whole topic?
Well, I'm scrambling for the book because I forget how we use the term.
I don't know. It's in the index. It's like the tentacles of poison. I didn't get to read that part, but I go, that's a metaphorical. I'm sure it's a metaphorical phrase, and I'm going, where was that all, going? Because is it the different aspects of, who's messing with the kids or your divorce or, you even got the attorneys. The attorneys, if you don't have a good attorney, a fair attorney, they could be winding their clients up too, just to milk them for money, which I've seen very often, and so there's so many different aspects of how to just poison a divorce.
Well, what we're talking about I was able to look it up pretty quickly. But with the tentacles of poison, it's all the different methods that they have available to them. I'm talking about the parent who's trying to drive a wedge between the healthy parent and the kids. And it's all that stuff. We touched on some of it already, interfering with contact and communication. And another one is grabbing your time, maybe cutting off your time a little bit before it's supposed to be, like, oh, the kids will just come back early or whatever, chipping away at any days that you have. Also, I hope we're still
Are we
good.
talking about the alienation factors?
Yeah, you're here.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, because the screen got a little strange, but also undermining your authority and making the child feel like the rules from their house apply universally, whereas typically in divorce, mom's house, mom's rules, dad's house, dad's rules.
Mm-hmm.
But they make that play, they cut under your authority with the child to position themselves as the only real parent, and the healthy parent is subjugated and secondary and eventually kicked to the curb.
Yeah. So yeah, I think the tentacles of poison, that was like the title, but I didn't know what we were talking about.
I didn't mean to catch you off guard.
That's okay.
We wrote the darn book. We should
No, I think
know what's in it.
Yeah, no, I think we're talking about what we call the alienation factors based on the Baker model by Dr. Amy Baker. So Chris has listed a few different ways that they get in and poison the kids. Generally, it's sending poisonous messages, blocking contact and communication, erasing and replacing. So sometimes when a parent finds, or a person finds, a new partner, and they encourage a child to call that person any version of mom or dad to make it as though you are minimized, like you're nothing, and now they've just replaced you with a new person. That's really bad. Encouraging a child to betray your trust. So a lot of times kids are turned into, like the story I just mentioned, little spies, where you feel like you don't have any privacy in your home. The kids are reporting back. They're being grilled by the other parent. What'd you do? Is this person staying there? Who were you with? And then kids sometimes will be taking pictures, recording you, getting into your phone, your drawers, your computer, and giving it all to the other parent who's trying to use it against you in some kind of legal case or some other way to make you feel like you're going to get in trouble if you're not doing what they think is right. And then, like Chris also mentioned, minimizing your authority. And lastly, encouraging dependence in a child. So a lot of times these people, you've heard the term narcissistic supply. They like an audience. They need people around them. So they make kids feel like they're very dependent. They'll hold things over children. If you don't do what I want, I'm not going to pay for your phone. I'm not going to pay for college. I'm not going to pay for your car. So kids think, oh, I can't do it on my own. I have to do what this other parent wants. And what they want is for me to have nothing to do with my other parent.
And you mentioned brainwashing earlier, and right when we were getting started, that's exactly what it is. Right. Chemically, the effect on the brain is exactly the same as what happens when people are in a cult or something like that. But when you were talking about, or Lisa mentioned, erasing and replacing, when we were in London for the book release, we saw Bill Eddy speak. And Bill Eddy is one of the long time thought leaders in our space. He's written 20 books and co-founded the High Conflict Institute. And Bill was talking about children's brains and how they develop. And I didn't know this, but there's a process that as we mature, we go through in, I guess, late adolescence, somewhere around there, where a lot of our memories of early childhood get flushed, and they can be sort of like reinforced. So you keep them and keep those memories, or they can be replaced if there's a steady stream of another narrative. Like, it wasn't really dad who bathed you when you were an infant, it was me, or something like that, where children's memories are not as dependable as they age, as maybe we count on. If you're the alienated target parent, and you're saying, well, at least my child knows that I was there when they were really little. Well, they might not, because that might get deleted.
Yeah.
When you're little, I mean, I'm constantly reminding my daughter of things when she was little, because she was little. Now, as I get older, the roles may reverse, But for right now, it's just as I was saying with the Facebook memories and things like that. I can't help it. I mean, it's 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'm still finishing up like show stuff, and I'm going through Facebook, and then all of a sudden I go to my personal page, and there's this picture of her on the last day of first grade or whatever, and my face just instantly explodes in happiness. I mean, I'm just again, I can't imagine people being so vindictive, but it's true and it's out there and there's a lot of it. I mean, I just hate it. I mean, especially when it comes to your child. You want to go off on your ex, you'll do that and you'll get over it, but the kid's going to take that stuff with them, and not all of them can put it behind them, and that's the sad part.
Peter, the thing you mentioned about the Facebook memories and seeing the pictures, that's something I remember Amy Baker was talking about in an interview we did, where she was describing how a lot of people for wallpaper on their phone have a picture of someone they love, because when you see someone you love, you feel good, the pleasure hormones, just like you described. And what an alienating parent does is they will try to erase images. They'll take all the photos out. A lot of times we see parents like this where kids are supposed to have video calls, and the other parent will go, "Oh, the camera's broken." Oh, and it's to make the child forget that what you look like.
Right. And that's again sick. It's just sad. It's really sad. I took a million videos and a million pictures. In fact, now, because my daughter's 20, which just in a blink of an eye, I can't get enough pictures because we do a Christmas card every year, and now it's gonna get harder and harder. And I mean, it's just life. I mean, soon there'll be boys involved or boyfriends involved, and college is already stepping in, and it's getting harder and harder. And she's just living life, so it's normal for her. But I'm the one going through the withdrawals because I fought, for that, and because that was my child too. And splitting a kid in half isn't really healthy, but the times that happens, and there's a way you can do it that's a little more healthier than others, and you do the best you can. But again, a lot of these kids do get damaged from it, and it really is a shame. It bothers me a lot. Can we talk about the gearing up for divorce? I mean, for court, because that is a stressful, painful, and expensive thing. You guys, basically you guys that's a big part of what you do, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Who wants to tell me a little bit about it?
All right, Chris, I guess I'll talk about it. So everyone talks about documentation, like document everything, but that's a mistake, because when you document everything, it's like you're going to be paying tons of money to an attorney to go through your big mess and decide what actually matters. So one of the things that we teach people often on the first call that we have with them is something called the custody factors, the best interest factors, as well as the alienation factors, so they know what the court actually cares about when it comes to custody. Often their ex's voice is still in their head, and their ex is saying, "Oh, if you don't do the same thing as what's happening at my house, the judge is going to give me full custody, or you're a terrible parent, or because you were, because you drank in the past, or whatever you did, like I'm going to win and I'm going to take the kids away." So people are terrified, and they just like put all this stuff together and they have no idea what they're doing. So targeted documentation is really understanding also that domestic violence is separate from custody, and restraining order. Just because someone's been maybe violent towards one parent, there's certain factors that the courts don't look at, because again, they separate the two. So really understanding that these are the things the courts care about, and helping them develop a very persuasive, compelling narrative that's based on a couple of themes where they have the strongest evidence, that ends up working a lot better than just being like, "Here's all my stuff" to an attorney. So before you go to court, if you've got an alienation case, there's certain things that you need to focus on, and those are those alienation factors, 6 of them that I just went through, where you really want to start putting together the patterns of your ex's behavior, the visible impact it's had on your child, and on your relationship with your child over time. So we need dates, we need a little description of what exactly happened from your ex's behavior, and then again, the visible impact on your child. I'm talking about regression, like kids who are really stressed out, who end up wetting the bed, acting a lot younger than they normally are, not doing well in school, being really aggressive, a lot of suicidal ideation. Unfortunately, we see with our clients, kids when they're very, very young, as well as adolescents. So things like that. And then you want to make sure you have evidence, provable evidence that shows what exactly happened and how you can tell. So information from third parties, teachers, if there's a therapist. I'm not talking about people coming in to testify directly, but often these cases get assigned what's called a guardian ad litem or GAL, or a custody evaluator who does a forensic evaluation to figure out like what exactly is going on and what's in the child's best interest in terms of how custody should be, physical custody, legal custody, and why. So really getting like a tight narrative over, this is what I'm asking for in terms of custody. This is why. That matters. And it is not easy because it is so emotional.
Look, in all fairness, I know exactly what you're saying. I had to do it. And I know how everybody gets emotionally involved and you write a million things. But in my experience, whether you wrote a little or a lot, does it actually get looked at? By the time it gets to the judge, I mean, this is what used to really get me going, is you're doing this and your lawyer says, keep track of this and do that. And you bring this and the judge is supposed to read all this stuff before he comes out into the courtroom.
It doesn't happen.
No, they don't read it.
No,
usually.
No.
And
we say,
so why bother?
Okay, so we say it's like you're paying $8 million for the 30-second Super Bowl commercial. You've got like a very limited amount of time. With us, we like to keep our clients out of court as much as possible. So we do a ton of stuff when it comes to strategic communication with the ex and negotiation and mediation and not letting strangers make decisions. So you have more time when you're in those other settings than in a courtroom. Courtroom is like, if you absolutely, like, you want to limit the issues as much as possible, but do everything you can outside of court, because that's what the judge is going to tell you to do anyway. Go in the other room, work it out, work it out, work it out. They want to see that you have bent over backwards. In my state of Connecticut, you have a year before they set a trial, and they're like, you try to figure it out. So
I get it, but when you get ex parte to death, what are you going to do? I was always answering, and my lawyer looked at me, goes, "How do you feel?" I go, I felt like shit. I'm sweating because I don't like being in people. You're airing out your dirty laundry, and he goes, I go, "What do you mean?" And he says, "Well, we're winning." It's like, I don't feel like we're winning. I mean, I really don't have that. It's not about winning. I just want this to stop.
Right.
Nonsense.
Well, I have yet to meet anyone who enjoys being brought to court. It's awful.
It is awful.
It's not. It's not winning.
This brings me to the whole thing about choosing. You're saying, but choosing the right professionals. How do you know? I mean, people refer. They go, "Oh, this person's great," And I'll give you an example. When this show first started, it was called the Jim and Peter Show because I met this other guy at my daughter's school. And we dropped our kids off. He had two. He had a boy and a girl. And the boy was my daughter's age. They ended up being in the same class. And we'd stand outside the school bitching about stuff because we were going through the same stuff at the same time. He lived down the street. The same things were happening. We looked totally different, but we were identical. It's the same, it's just the same scenario. That's why these judges, they're like coroners. They've heard it all before. You're pleading your case and they're looking at the disco master and doing all this other stuff while you're talking. How much is going in their head is, for only they know. So we're talking about all this stuff. But, at the same time, it's like he kept telling me, this went on for 6 months. He goes, "You should have had my attorney. My attorney was a pit bull." And I go, "Well, I go, my attorney is good." He said, "But we're just answering the call." I go, "We're not attacking." And he kept going. He says, "God, I wish you had my attorney." 6 months later, we found out. And now how many attorneys are within 20 miles or 30 miles? We had the same attorney. It was just a different, you know what I mean? It was a different.
Well, yeah. I mean, you hit it right there. A lot of people come to us and say, "I need to fire my attorney and get a real pit bull, somebody who will advocate for me strongly." Yeah. Usually after they've gotten beaten up a bit. pit bull attorneys, the type that we think of when we think of that term, they add to the conflict.
Yeah.
We want to do things to lower the conflict,
Yeah.
right? You're and the other side, they love conflict, right? So it takes effort to keep them out of that zone. Even with the subset of cases that Lisa and I work on, which are only the worst ones, 5 to 10%, whatever the number is, even most 80, 90% of those settle without a trial. So, and that's where we always want to get to. So the amount of times that a judge is actually deciding like a whole case is still the minority. But yes, the family court system is deeply flawed, and it is not built for these cases, right? It's built for the majority of like normal ones. It's like production line, get us out. Let's do standard stuff. These are the exceptions, and the family court system isn't built to deal with it. Plus, you've got somebody on the other side, your former partner, if you've got our problem, who is very, very skilled. And they find attorneys who are very, very skilled at gumming everything up, causing confusion, making it a bloodbath. They're good at it. And the legal system will give everybody, you have the right to file anything you want, right? So the system makes it easy for them.
There's no doubt my ex had an attorney that was revving her up. There was no doubt about it. His office was 2 blocks from the courthouse. I'm sure he goes there a whole lot, and he's got a lot of friends over there. Mm-hmm. Mine was from 20 miles away. But you know how they send you into mediation? Sometimes it's like, go and talk. So a lot of these lawyers have to volunteer their time to be a mediator and things like that. And I in my head thought, if I get in front of a woman judge or whatever, my goose is going to be cooked because I'm going to be, it's a guy, against a woman or this and that. I was completely wrong about a lot of that stuff, because I've been in front of 2 women, one that gave me 50-50 custody right off the bat because she saw right through all the bullshit. And then down the road, right when we're finishing, we're still in mediation over now finances, which was the least of what I cared about. I just, was trying to retain the 50-50 that I was given because there was no reason for me not to have it, which at the end, she never got 5 seconds more because there was no reason for me to have it. But we just had to go through 3 years of court for that. But the mediator was a woman, and she was a sensible bulldog. Like, we're in mediation, and she's looking at her lawyer, and she's going, this is freaking nonsense. She goes, when are you guys going to stop? She really told off the lawyer. And I was like, oh my God, I wish I had her from the beginning, because she just I don't know. She just knew how to put things in place. And I had a good lawyer, but he was calm, and he just kind of answered the call. But she kind of like, this has got to stop. This is baloney. And shortly after, it did end because I was on my way out. I let go of my lawyer and all that. But you don't know who you're choosing. You don't know who's good and who's paying more attention. It's very difficult.
It is.
Yes, it is.
Wow.
For sure.
The end game in here, you got, parenting plans, relief and enforcement and all that kind of stuff, or creating stability for your kids. Easier said than done. You do the best you can, but when you're going through hell, we all know how that works. But give me how's the end game working out with your clients and things like that?
So we have a hashtag, it's called From Puddle to Ninja. And because people meet us in the puddle state, like these super successful people are just a mess because of what they're dealing with. And then we help turn them into a ninja, a fighter, strong, confident person. So we have a newsletter that we send out once a month. It's called On the Docket. Been There, Got Out on the Docket, BTGO on the Docket. And our list just keeps getting longer and longer and longer because the messages that we get from our clients about how well they do is amazing. And I feel like I'm always saving those messages and putting them in the newsletter. Like, I already started putting stuff into July because of the messages and letters that we get from them. And also we have a weekly legal abuse support group. I always say we do the unusual thing in that we blend our male and female clients in the group. And Chris, I'm sure you don't have it next to you because you're not right at your desk, or maybe you do. But we have our victory symbol.
Is he making a special appearance on a Wednesday night?
Yeah.
Crazy.
So this is
Balloon
our
Man.
Balloon Man that whenever somebody makes progress or has success. And so Balloon Man comes out pretty frequently because people learn how to navigate the system well. and get out of there. That's the goal, is like, let's get out and try to move on with our lives and try to co-parent as well as possible. There's so many things that a person can do to lower the conflict themselves. All of our clients are dealing with extraordinarily high conflict exes, but there's ways to communicate. There's ways to learn how to effectively navigate the legal system. It is not fast. It's not easy. Most of the time, it's not super cheap when you're dealing with a really difficult ex. But we've had tremendous success with our clients. And that's why people are always like, oh my gosh, I feel so bad for you because of your job. I'm like, I love my job. Chris loves our job as well. It's because it's so rewarding to see people who are an absolute mess transform and do really, really well, and to get constant feedback from them about how well they're doing and how things have worked out. It's not always like that. There's definitely gut punches, but we say, our clients don't lose. They just give up too soon because they run out of stamina. And that's why it's so important to have support as you're going through something like this. We call it the marathon mindset. It's not just that it's going to take a long time. It's training to go through it and have other people say, okay, you didn't do well, but you can cry for a while and rage. And now we got to figure out how to regroup and make another plan, because every time you go back, it's another opportunity. It's just exhausting.
One of the really sad differences between high conflict divorce and regular divorce is, in regular divorce, I don't want to make it sound like the people aren't angry. Usually they are, right? Something is tearing apart this relationship that was meant to last a lifetime if the parties entered into it sincerely, right? So whatever happened, it's common for people to be angry with each other. In these cases, the ones we deal with, that anger never subsides. So my marriage has been over, I've been separated for more than 12 years. And my ex is every bit as nasty, angry, and whatever as she was before. Like, she'll send me the nastiest messages now compared to the past. So it just doesn't subside because they're fixated and obsessed.
Well, and your kids?
When the relationship ends, their desire to continue to exert power and control over you does not.
How are your kids with both sides now?
I'll go first. My boys, they're doing very well. My relationship is rock solid with both of them. They're 22 and 19 now. I'm at that magical year when they're both in college. Whoopee. Right. But they're doing well. They've got some lumps. They've got some scars. They've got some stuff that they'll be on a therapist's couch in their 30s and 40s for sure. But they've got a pretty good chance at a good life.
Because before you start, Lisa, because I always said, I still say to my daughter, I go, listen, and you just said it earlier in the show, we married these people. I mean, again, I have my faults too. I'm not perfect, but this is beyond my stupidity. The thing is, we loved these people. Nobody gets married to say, God, I can't wait till I get divorced. It's going to be so great, So the intentions are good going in, but I still say, unfortunately, again, and now that my daughter's older, she understands what's going on. She knows both of us, I would say, pretty well. And I go, that's still your mother. I mean, she's still going to love her mother, and I'm her father. It's just my ex still does not talk to me. I mean, not that I even try anymore, but she just chooses to, to not, for the sake of our daughter. This is the only thing that bothers me. When it comes graduation time, wedding, marriage, or something like that, for my daughter's sake, to have a picture with her mother and her father. Now, my daughter's pretty cool about it, but I think it bothers me more of the stupidity of it all, because we were gifted with this beautiful human being, and she can't, just like it was in the past. Remember the good days we had? We had a lot of those too. We had a real lot of those, but you can't just even be cordial and just kind of just like let it go. You can't do it.
Nope.
Well, I'll tell you what, my older son, he's got to go back to school, so he's still going to be taking some classes, but he was allowed to walk with his graduating class just last month, and he has that picture of me and my ex, because I haven't really talked to her before that weekend. I hadn't had a verbal conversation with her in years. Rarely physically in the same space, even though we live like a mile and a half from each other. But and my ex would be very happy to spend time with me because she liked to be nasty to me. But so I'm sure she'd be thrilled to do that. But I said, you know what? It's fine. It's for my son. And I went, and my ex behaved herself. It's always like a coin flip whether she will, but she did that time, and I was fine. I had a good time. I wasn't even putting on an act. I had a good time.
I was not
really
there.
Appreciated it.
I was not there, and I think that it was better because it was about his son, you know, and it's his son's day, and I didn't take it personally. It's just that we all knew what it would be like if I were there and his mother were there.
Right.
So it's better for him just to have his parents there.
And I'd show you the picture, but I don't do that publicly.
It's okay. It's okay. I mean, it's the thought of the whole thing. I mean, just the whole absurdity of, like, it's like, water under the bridge. And again, you guys got a thing called dealing with the devil. I mean, it's, it's like, yeah, it's pretty nasty. And, some people get out of it a lot better than others, but it's still a really hard thing. And there comes a point, it's like, can't we just let this all, I just want to tell you a real quick thing. I told you that I had a stack of paper, filing papers and all that kind of stuff. Before I moved, I had a filing cabinet, long filing cabinet full. It literally has to be 2.5 feet high of nothing but documents, court documents, things I was holding on to. So when I wrote a book about surviving divorce and, the whole excursion, I could refer to, because I went through it before I moved. I was getting rid of things because I've been in Los Angeles for 34 years. I had a lot of stuff, even from moving from my house down the street to another place, all that. But I looked at all those papers. I took, and that's the problem. You start going through things. You want to start, thinning the herd because you're moving, and you start getting sidetracked, and you're looking at old pictures, this and that, and it takes forever. But I started reading all these documents, and I couldn't read them all, but I started, I forgot most of those. And I'm talking, it was just horrible stuff. At that point, I just thought about it, and I ended up spending the rest of the evening, which was probably around 4 hours, shredding every single piece of it. And I just let it go. And I said, God forbid anything was to happen to me and my daughter would have to come across all this stuff. It was just nasty. And I said, I don't care about the book. I don't care. We made it, and she's good. She's not been that affected by it, which is very unusual. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure she carries some things, but she's risen above it. I mean, it's the stability of, she loves her mother, she loves me, and vice versa. But I let it go. I shredded every single piece of it. And I mean, it took me all night long doing all that. And there went my book, gone.
I remember, well, the world doesn't need another bitter, angry divorce memoir.
It was just about getting through it. You're going through the motions. I mean, because for people who've never done it, you say that, but I bet it would have sold, and because it's just about the emotional journey of going through it. It wasn't bitter and angry. It's like, it changed me as a man. I mean, it definitely changed me. I didn't have pretty much of a care in the world up until that point. I mean, well, the a little bit of agony pre-divorce and all that, but life was just different. I had to completely stop my life because now there's no mother and a father to take care of this child, and my career and everything. It just wasn't going to work had I, had it not had that 50-50 custody. I was traveling. It's the only way I can make a living. I was touring. And because making records is obsolete now, so screw that. So it changed me, and it changed a lot of things. And I mean, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that. But I'm just saying how it alters a lot of things. And I saw something, I think it was from you guys. It was that I was going through some stuff about letting go of things, and I unknowingly just chose at that moment to not bring that stuff with me to Florida, and it's in a landfill somewhere, and breaking down into soil.
Well, we're not mental health professionals, but I would say that was a very, very healthy thing to do.
I think so too.
emotionally for you. And I could so relate. I remember it was 1 year after my divorce went final, my attorney's office called and said, would you like to get the files? Because we're going to get rid of them because it's more than a year. And I said, sure. And I went over with my car and there were like 6 or 7 of those giant paper boxes filled, like the kind you get copier paper, the reams of copier paper. Oh my gosh, it was so much. I'm still using like the backs of those for printing stuff. I don't need the other side, and giving Lisa scrap paper.
I know.
To be fair, I don't know if me letting go of that stuff did anything for me. I basically did it in the event for my daughter. I mean, I'm okay. It did change me, but I'm okay, and I'm strong enough I got through it. I mean, I think I worried my parents more to death when they were alive, and thank God. I mean, I've bent the ears on friends of mine that I could truly call friends that didn't not pick up the phone, and things like that. But I let it go. I guess for me too, but I don't know.
Well, I mean, you're right. There is a transformation that happens, and it's so great when we see like it obviously had a positive, I wouldn't wish you'd go through it again or anything, but you seem to have really emerged with being a better person from it. But that's making me think of the people who it doesn't always have that effect, right? Sometimes, like, bring it back to the alienation topic, is people get so discouraged that they give up. And that's the one thing that you can never do when the other parent is trying to undermine your relationship with your child, is give up, because that confirms every message that they're being given by the other side.
Well, as you and I spoke earlier prior to the show when Lisa was taking a break before the show, we're not good quitters. Quitting is not in my vocabulary very much of anything, but more so than anything, I think is I think, and I would think that would be for anybody, it'd be the love you have for your children. I mean, I don't think there's anything stronger than love, and I truly believe in that. Maybe because I've gotten soft in my old age or whatever, but I to me, love is the key. I can't see it any other way.
Yeah,
rock and roll.
Agree.
All right. Do you have a copy of your book you can show everybody?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So there you go. There's the book right there, because we have the first book, but then they just came. When did you release that book right there that you're holding up? And don't put it down. I keep it on up there. Let me get as much screen time as I can with you.
March 18th.
So it's new. It's fresh.
Oh yeah.
All right. So that book right there, When Your Ex Turns the Kids Against You, that's a hell of a title. Can be gotten on Amazon and all those kind of places.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And you guys do have a website, right? Let me see if I got this right, because let me see if my dyslexia didn't screw everything up. www.beentheregotout.com is where we can find you, Chris Berry and Lisa Johnson. Is there anything that I didn't kind of get out that you want to express before? Because we're already going to start getting close to time.
Yeah, no, you could find us on our website. We also have a YouTube channel and a podcast. It's just Been There, Got Out. We're very active on social media, especially Instagram. It's at Been There, Got Out with the underscores. And our email addresses are Lisa and Chris at beentheregotout.com. It's just the two of us. We always answer. So please feel free to reach out.
So basically, if they go to your website, I mean, they can get all that information, the email addresses and that for people who want to contact you for guidance and things like that. And or copies of your books, which again, I strongly feel that sharing stories, knowledge is power. Going through divorce is not anything. It's not for the weak, the faint-hearted. It can make you or break you. It's your choice, and it's always great to have a good support group, because I attribute that. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Even for me, I mean, I was a man or whatever, but it hurts. There's no doubt about it. It hurts. Nobody wants to go through that crap, and when you got children caught in the middle, it hurts even more when they start pulling them away from you, if you're the kind of guy or woman that gives a shit enough that wants to be a part of that child's life, which I hope most are, but unfortunately they're not all that way. But Yeah, the book. So the book is fresh, and now you've been even doing book signings and all. You guys are on. You've really been working hard. Again, I told Lisa that I, get a lot of things. I'm very busy on that, but you guys started crossing my path a lot. So you're really, I know what it takes to get to that distribution of information, so to speak, because you can do it one of two ways. You either work your ass off and keep putting a million pieces of content out there, or you spend, $500,000 and buy your way in. So I was figuring that you're A. We're all in the same club here. So yeah.
Yep.
I don't have $500,000 lying around,
No.
but Lisa won't say this, so I'll say it. She does an absolutely amazing job of connecting with our audience, especially like Instagram tends to be our home base. We do a lot of stuff, but Instagram's sort of the place it originates from. And she's built a wonderful, large, not huge, but large and respectful audience, an engaged audience. And that's hard to do on social media. The respectful part, large is not that hard.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you ever get people that go after you? I mean, I would think it's just natural. You can't win them all.
A little bit.
Not
tiny,
too much.
on the alienation topic. It's a very controversial topic, and we totally understand why. That's what the introduction in the book is about. I begged Lisa to let me write that chapter because I understand why the people who are screaming and carrying on about alienation isn't real and all that stuff. I understand where it comes from, but it's not the whole story. And whenever people come and attack us, and I'll write a thoughtful response like, "Hey, let's engage on this. I want to talk about this with you." And then they scurry under the floorboards again.
Mm-hmm.
Right. No, and a lot of times it could be trolls. It's so, again, it's very daunting, doing what she does and putting it out there. But I have been seeing a whole lot, and she has a warm, inviting face too. I mean, I've always said this is really weird because from the first time I saw you, I couldn't put my finger on it, but I just kept feeling like you were this girl that I went to like elementary school with. You just remind me, your face. Now I know it's not true, but I grew up in East Haven, Connecticut myself, but so it threw me, and I did a lot of thinking. I'm going, no, there was no Lisa. There's just something about your characteristics that just reminded me of somebody of that, and I never forgot it. You know what I mean? But then all of a sudden,
Marissa Tomei.
I didn't go to school with her. We didn't go to school together. But the thing was, you came on for the first time when we had the first book, and that was great. But then, time goes by. It's like, boom, we're all on to different things. But you guys kept pedaling, and you kept pushing harder and harder. And I'm pretty sure that, you're climbing that little, it's all long. Had it said to me just the other day from a friend of mine who's like an executive with Live Nation. And, we came down in the trenches together. Now he's way up there in the whole concert scene and this and that. And he goes, Petey, he calls me Petey. He says, don't worry, man. He says, it's just going to be 10 years of overnight success. And, it's like, yeah, thanks. Yeah. I'll tell my creditors that. But nobody sees the behind the scenes of all this. The show is the easiest part. When you put out that content, it looks like, you just put it out. But nobody sees the countless hours of gathering, editing, this and that, on to the next, posting to all the different places. Because you're on Facebook, you're on TikTok, you're on Instagram, you're on LinkedIn, correct?
YouTube.
Of course, YouTube. I mean, it takes time, and then there's more. I'm sure there's more platforms. Oh, you're on X, right? Because I've
passively, but yeah,
I know, but me too. I can't get arrested on some platforms, but then again, Instagram has been no big deal. Like I couldn't gain a follower to save my life. And all of a sudden, these past few months, it's starting to pick up momentum after 6 years. I don't understand it, but that's why I never knock anything out. You just don't know. They manipulate all these algorithms. So just keep putting it out there, build it, and they will come. It is what it is. All right. Look, I want to thank you guys for giving me the time. Again, long overdue, but well worth the wait. Because I do believe this stuff is important, and I know that you guys care, or you wouldn't have been. You're in the game now for quite a while, so that means it wasn't just hey, we got nothing else to do. Let's Before I let you guys go, is there anything and I think I probably asked you this years ago too, but I'm sure things have changed. I want from both of you, if you're going to leave this audience or whoever in the future is going to be seeing this, which grows in time. what would you leave them with? And I'll start with Chris on this. If just something to take with them.
So well, I already said that the biggest thing is you can never give up. There's a corollary to that, and that is if you're dealing with alienation, it's very much like cancer or some other terrible disease. Is the earlier you catch it, the easier it is to reverse. So if you think this might be going on, educate yourself and look for the signs, because if you can, don't live in denial. The sooner you act, the better.
Got it. Lisa, you're up next. What can we?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people think that the way it is going to be the way it stays forever, but statistics show that most of the time kids come back. I think it's being ready to know how to deal with it when they do come back, like taking care of yourself, getting support as you're living through this heartbreak and feeling like it's never going to get better. Things change. We have so many success stories. A really good friend of mine, her daughters had no contact for 8 years and they became adults, young adults, and they came back to her, and we've had the last 2 Christmases together. I've interviewed her daughters. Each of their interviews are on our podcast. They've never been closer, but I think what people don't understand is the child's experience. They think that everything is through the lens of the way they see it, but their child is having a very different experience. So it's also important to understand what it's like for them and to know that there's a really good chance you're coming back. You're going to have to be ready to deal with them when they come back, because it's not always so easy.
That is a fact. Kids are sponges, and what you say can affect them for a very long time. But again, people just don't get it, and the damage goes deep, and it's just heartbreaking to me. It really is, because I just love kids. They could be screaming, crying from something, and then 2 minutes later, behind them, and they're laughing and playing, and they deserve to be happy. I mean, they didn't ask to get manipulated and destroyed. And then, especially when you bring them into this world, I feel it's our responsibility to try to bring them up to the best of our ability. It's not always that way. Again, for more information, you want to find out from Been There, Get Out, from Chris and Lisa, right there, beentheregotout.com. Buy their books or check out their websites. And again, they're all over the internet. They're all with the short clips and everything. Short pieces of information is information, people. Can't say that enough, and it leads to more things. And knowledge is really something, not going, unarmed into these situations. Nobody asked to be in these situations, but unfortunately, here we are. So thank you for giving me the time. Again, long overdue. You're welcome on this show. Anytime there's something you want to bring up, you're more than welcome to. Don't always wait for me, because I get kind of distracted a lot.
That's okay. Thank you so much.
Peter, it was a lot of fun. It was good seeing you again.
Thank you again. Wave goodbye to everybody, and there you have it. Let's with Chris and Lisa, the 11-year couple who are on the path for success. Right there, a gold star for you guys. I love you, and I'll see you guys later. All right.
Thank you so much.
That's all good. See you later. 1 and 2, and how about that? One last time, right there. www.beentheregotout. Chris and Lisa, again, experience. Help you get through these things. Look, when you want to get good at something, you pay money to get lessons, to take lessons, to learn how to play instruments and this and that. Sometimes what's your life worth to you? So go check them out if you don't mind. And you need, don't be stubborn and say, I can figure it out, because sometimes you'll be banging your head against the wall. As Lisa said, take the short road. You don't have to drag your ass completely through the mud. Sometimes a little bit of help. Don't be too proud. It might save you a lot in the long run, especially in court. And court is expensive. And that's that. Okay, where are we at here? I want to remind everybody. What do I want to remind you about? Oh, Father's Day. One last reminder. I really want everybody to have a great Father's Day weekend. It doesn't matter if you're a father or not. I want everybody to have a great day every day. That's really my dream, because life is complicated. They got everybody divided and at each other's throats, and it sucks. It really does. But we all don't have to. We don't have to. You don't have to buy into it. You take a breath, Next week, lucky you, next week it's you and me because there's so much news going on in the news, which really, you guys are into it. You know, I appreciate it. You guys are really into it. So next week it's going to be me and you, current events, talking about the things that are happening. The news is changing so rapidly that I have to change what I'm going to talk about down to the minute because the new news that I had becomes old news. But that's what we're doing next week because I think it's the last weekend. It's the last week of the month, last show of the month, as always. But you guys are really starting to dig that stuff. And so, I'll give you what you want. I wish that so many people would just be a little nicer sometimes, but again, I don't expect everybody to agree with me or what I bring to the table. I'm just bringing information out here and sharing with you. You want to start calling me names, go for it. I'm used to it. But every once in a while, I'm going to fire back. I try to hold back. As I said last week, I usually wait a few more paragraphs of you ripping me a new one, and then I finally say, okay, enough of you. But and I don't delete people. Okay, I don't delete people because of your thoughts. You're entitled to your own thoughts, whether they're good or bad or not. Usually with age comes wisdom. But even some of the older people, we're not on the same page. That's fine. But my question is, if you don't like me so much, why the hell are you watching me every week? Because you are, and you do like me. You just love to not like me, so you pay attention. But I love you for it. So cool. All right. I feel like I'm missing something. No, I guess not. Pretty simple. All right. Piece of cake. Great show. Again, last chance right here. I have it. Been there, got out. Go check them out because I can't say it enough how we're talking from experience here, folks. I didn't know a lot of things, and you need people pointing you in the right direction who care about what you're going through and don't want to see you get dragged through the mud. That is a fact. So go check them out. All right. There's that. And lastly, as I said, be kind. There's a lot of stuff going on. You're all wound up. You don't have to take a lot of crap from people, but you don't have to be an ass either. Life is short. Take a breath before you speak. I've learned that from years ago, and I'm getting a lot better at it too. We get jabbed and then you bark. And I have gotten a lot better at it because, again, you get all wound up and you just immediately go on autopilot and you learn how to not do that. So don't do that, all right? Be kind. Life is short, and that's it, folks. My name is Peter G. I want to thank everybody, and I do mean everybody, both here and now, who are watching the show live and who will be watching the show in the future. Don't forget, I know life is busy. It's hard to sit down and visually watch a show. You can put an earbud in your ear. You can take the show on the road with you. Google www.petergshow podcast. You have access to all, I think, 26 different platforms. You have your Amazon Music, your iTunes podcast, the Spotify, you name it. Easy. Put the earbud in your ear. It's the next best thing to be in here. You can listen to one of over 400 shows while you're driving, while you're exercising, while you're at work, because work is boring. So do it. It's good for you. You'll learn something. And most of all, share, share, share. Best thing you can do for me is sharing, all right? Besides subscribing and following. It's all free. It's no big deal, but I appreciate you guys. So that's it. Join me next week. Can't wait. A lot of fun stuff. We do have fun, and we do. Sometimes we have to talk about these topics because it's important. Wasn't a big bucket of laughs, but then again, there were a few in there, so it's good. It's part of growing. We're all adults here, kind of. All right? I love you guys. I want everybody to be kind and be cool and stay out of trouble. Next week's a new week. Let's live life. Have a great Father's Day weekend. My name is Peter G. Thank you for watching Life of Peter G, The Peter G Show, every Wednesday like clockwork, 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. on the East Coast, where it's very dark out right now and late. Right, Chris? And that's it. As always, I love you guys, and peace out.
Peter G Show, Peter G Show, divorced dad, single dad.